Hi, I'm Reggie Turner. I'm here with Terrence Moore and Jim Miller. The FlipSide starts right now. Welcome to the show. Tonight we're joined by Aaron Palmer, the founder of Green Line Security Solutions here in Hagerstown, and the president of the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, Paul Frey. Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Aaron, we understand that you are a veteran of the Marine Corps, and now you have started your own business, Green Line Security Solutions. Tell us a little bit about that transition from military to now entrepreneurship in your security business.
Okay. So I am honored to be a United States Marine. I did 4 years as a combat engineer. I got out as a sergeant. I was in from September 2001 to September 2005. I had 2 tours in Iraq, and that allowed me to cut my teeth and become the professional security guard that I am today. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I had a lot of great workforce experience with different companies in the drilling and blasting industry. And then I worked for the Department of Energy as a security guard, where I got to learn about a lot of great safeguards and security measures that I implement in my own company. So that's where we're at with that.
So I should mention, actually, this is a brand new segment for the FlipSide. Paul Frey and the Chamber of Commerce has graciously agreed to bring us a new business from there. They get new businesses into the chamber, and every quarter or so we're going to bring a new business on and highlight them. Tonight that's you, Paul. Thank you for partnering with us. I think it'll be a great segment, and hopefully it'll introduce some people to what you do. Talk a little bit about why you chose to start a business. What was the benefit in your mind of entrepreneurship, and what are your expectations? What are your hopes?
So 2015, I was doing great in my life, had a great positive mental attitude, things were going wonderful, but I just was not challenged at all, okay? I heard a little bit rumors about the cannabis industry coming to Maryland, all right? And then it was actually in 2016 at a Chamber of Commerce event, a little Eggs and Issues action in March 2016, where a gentleman that was representing a medical cannabis company was trying to win the hearts and minds of some business owners, current county commissioners. So they gave a great presentation, and that really solidified the opportunity. Like, hey, I want to do my own thing. I'm really good at security. This industry needs the security. So that's how we got started. Just doing good market research and a lot of networking has got us to where we are today.
Okay, perfect.
The stigma security guard, right? I've heard you use it. When people hear security guard, I don't think they really understand the level of service of security that you actually perform. Can you kind of tell us some of the services that your company actually provides and at what level?
Okay, so the first thing that we take really good pride in is the level of training that our security guards receive, okay? I take a lot out of the Department of Energy playbooks. I spent 13 years there, and they are the subject matter professionals when it comes to safeguards and securities. So we just take some of their plays out of their playbook. Quarterly training, onboard training for new hires to establish the 3 main values that we have: professionalism, tactfulness, and customer service. We train hard on those particularly because of the different services we provide as security guards for our local cold weather shelter. We provide, we like to say, we use the word unhoused now, but from our homeless to Hollywood, we protect them all because we do security at the Maryland Theater as well. We were mission specific to the medical cannabis industry in Maryland, but COVID in 2020 opened up a lot more opportunities for our services. We provide our professional services here in Washington County.
So the cannabis, tell me what types of security. Are you securing the facilities where they process? I don't even know what they do at these
So
locations.
we provide everything. So the 3 main licenses in the state of Maryland, 4 licenses in the state of Maryland, processors, growers, dispensaries, and labs, okay? The services we provide to those Maryland licensees are security guard services. 24/7 round the clock, or we get called in during certain special seasonal retail hours, or if they have they unfortunately fired an individual and that individual made threats to that staff, or some customers will come in for a little bit to de-escalate that situation. We do vulnerability assessments on properties and make sure everybody's safe. And then we provide ATMs because it's a cash-based industry. So there's a few dispensaries we have ATMs in. And then we provide, our personal favorite is cash and cannabis transport to the different licensees throughout Maryland.
So ATM, you mean like the automated teller machine, like put your Visa card in and get money out?
That is correct.
Okay.
Currently, the industry is still a cash-based industry, but there's certain dispensaries starting to use like a debit system or something like that. So, but the ATMs are still.
And the cash
a need.
base is even for the medical side of things? That's not just the recreational?
That is correct.
Wow.
Correct. Yep.
Why do I think that's surprising?
Well, it's not federally legal, and financial institutions are FDIC insured, so it's been a kind of a gap in executing that. Now, there's laws out there right now that are looking to move past that, and there's also private banking that you probably do some work for as well that actually cater only to the cannabis industry as well. Are you working with any of those locally or across the state?
That is correct. We're honored to be working with Bulldog Federal Credit Union. We do some things for them because we were bringing some dispensary cash to them because they were one of the banking institutions in the state of Maryland dealing with marijuana-related businesses. The vetting process that we had to do in order to bring cash into their facility and armed and everything was pretty extensive, and after we passed with flying colors, they came to us and asked if they would like Green Line to do some of their own stuff. So we're happy to assist them in their own success as well.
Great. Excellent.
So it sounds like you started with cannabis as your target market, but then you broadened out after COVID. Are there any other particular markets that you're focused on?
We're doing great in the cannabis industry. It's allowing a lot of good challenges for us to take on. It's really providing us a lot of guard hours, post hours to fill, to hire some good local veterans to work those posts. Whoever calls in Washington County, we're going to assist. But as far as federal or state contracts, that's really nothing we're really going to entertain. We're really comfortable working within the cannabis industry and then assisting any local small business, nonprofit, or house of faith. I mean, we stand at churches too. So,
Excellent.
2016, that's the ground floor. You know, medical cannabis became legal in the state of Maryland in 2016. So you entered on the ground floor in an industry that really didn't exist at all in the state of Maryland. You were one of the first ones, and you mentioned doing your due diligence and a lot of research. And you know, I can say as well that I knew you in 2016. Well, you know, when you were starting it, and you had that idea, and you went at it aggressively. And to see where you're at now, so I just say I commend you, because being an entrepreneur is not an easy task.
thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your entrepreneur journey and maybe some of the biggest challenges you've seen as being an entrepreneur.
The first challenge that was a real, took the wind right out of my sails, was seeing what it took to have a security guard company in the state of Maryland. The Maryland State Police is the governing body for all security guard companies in the state of Maryland, and within their business code, there's only 4 checks in the box that you got to have in order to have that. You got to be law enforcement, a fire marshal, a Department of Corrections supervisor, or a private detective of 5 years or more in good standing. I'm neither, but I am a United States Marine, and I did work at the Department of Energy for 13 years, and that really, that's my qualifications, which are pretty darn good. So that was a big challenge. So I had to see what I had to do to restructure my company, to see what I had to do to have a representative represent Green Line Security Solutions, to be a security guard company in the state of Maryland. My representative works for us, so it's pretty easy. He's a United States Marine and a Department of Corrections supervisor, and once he retires here in a few months, he's coming to us, and hopefully I can keep him busy for the next couple of years.
That's
so,
excellent.
but that was a big challenge, and like I said, it really took the wind out of my sails. Because I thought it was not going to be easy, but I didn't expect there to be any kind of walls like that. I'm like, my resume is pretty good. So that didn't keep me from being where we're at here today, though.
Anecdotally, I've never met a Marine that said they were an ex-Marine.
What's a Marine? Always a Marine, right?
A former Marine, yeah. I said that?
Oh, no, you didn't say former. You said
I was about to say, he said, what? I hate myself.
Never
Yeah, no, former Marines.
Talk to me about the chamber connection.
Okay, so my wife is a chamber ambassador, and she's just had a lot of great success with networking and just community networking in general, but then business networking. And I've seen her company grow through the chamber and her grow as a businesswoman through the chamber. And that really inspired me. And she really was starting to get on me to help develop Green Line and really plug ourselves in the community because local businesses were asking us for our assistance and our services. We're now a proud chamber member of 2 years. And that really has opened up some doors. We utilize it for our sales purposes. Since we have the old chamber directory, since we pay for it, I email some businesses that I feel that we could provide services to, or if they already have security guard services, we can do better. We have some personal goals within Washington County that we'd love to have Green Line working at certain areas.
Great.
Let me
So,
tell you what Aaron did, which really smart chamber members do. He met with us and said, I need some help, I need some connections. And he worked. He said, who should I be speaking to? Who are the people I need to be talking to? Who are the connections at these businesses? And he really worked his chamber membership. He did the hustling. And as Terrence mentioned, from 2016 to now, it's no accident. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Well, that's
And so he's
exactly
been
right.
really hustling.
And the more you use your membership, the more you get out of your
Yeah.
membership. There's
we
no
have
doubt
now
about
new,
that.
new initiative that Aaron's part of, and so he just has been really active in the community and in the business world.
yeah. And Paul being a great chamber member, I was never, I wasn't really privy to what the chamber did until we got involved. And like I said, I met with the man. Here's a list of phone numbers and emails. Reach out to them, get back to me and see how that went. Let me know, keep me updated. I reached out to him because the member directory was not updated because I was trying to reach out to a potential client. Paul's like, I'll get right on that. And he still calls me, just, yeah, good stuff. Great leadership on his end as a chamber president.
Excellent. So the face of security has obviously changed since 2016. You mentioned about training. Talk to me about how you keep up with the latest regulations, the compliance elements. How does that all happen? That's got to be a challenge.
It is a challenge. It was a challenge. When we got started, I just went to Google and I was like, security guard insurance companies. And the top 5, I made phone calls and they're like, unfortunately, sir, we cannot insure you because you're operating within the medical cannabis industry. So I had to reach out and find specific insurance companies who were writing for that. And I found one and I'm still with them, but that was a big issue. But the great thing about them fine folk is they keep us updated on all the Maryland regulations, West Virginia regulations, and other state regulations that may eventually affect Maryland and how we kind of do business. And then the other compliance guidelines is the Maryland State Police. We get memos from them if they make any changes with amongst their COMARS, Maryland Code of Regulations. So, and then we just pass that on through via email, make sure all our teammates are up to date.
Excellent.
So as long as the insurance company's happy, we're happy.
Yeah.
So,
And I think there's also a misconception that the cannabis industry is the Wild Wild West, right? It's probably one of the most regulated industries, but also because it's so new, there are constant changes and ways to adapt. And you getting in so early, have other businesses reached out to you and relied on you and your knowledge of the industry, or even your personalized industry, which is not just cannabis anymore, but security?
yes, we've been very fortunate to be called out. Individuals who are looking to entertain licenses, sit down with them, just kind of go with what they're looking at doing in order to meet certain security. Meet the certain security measures that at the time the Maryland Medical Cannabis Commission had in place, but now it's the Maryland, what's the MDA? Maryland Cannabis Administration. Yeah, I forget so many letters. But going through, knowing and understanding what they require grow facilities and dispensaries to have to be within compliance to get passed so they can grow and sell cannabis. Those were very stringent. They were really, it was really healthy. It's kind of like Department of Energy stuff, just everything's secured. And everything has a backup security level. So taking that information and then going to our local businesses, our local houses of faith, and implementing that, doing vulnerability assessments and being like, hey, you need to fix this window or plant some rose bushes in front of this window here. Let's get some light, let's get some parking lot light shining here, turn your cameras this way.
Oh,
So
okay. So technology plays into your business quite a
it
bit?
does. We are not that subject matter professional, but we know a guy. So
Okay.
we pass that on.
Excellent,
So
excellent. Reggie?
Aaron, if people want to learn more about your services and reach out to you for an assessment for their business or organization, how do they reach you?
greenlinemd.com. That's us. www.greenlinemd.
Excellent. And what are your goals for Washington County outside of the cannabis business?
Our personal goal, my personal goal, is I would love to see Greenline Security Solutions providing our professional services to Volvo, aka Mack Truck, okay, Sierra Nevada Corporation, and then I'm starting to register our company in Pennsylvania. For whatever reason, JLG always sticks out to me. I know they utilize security guards at their facility in McConnellsburg, but I just foresee that. One of the things.
Mr. JLG, you also know a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy. But one of the biggest things that allows me to be a good business owner as well is my focus on our team members. Okay, so my goal is to bring on veterans to just provide them a good solid foundation when they get out of the military, or if they're just looking for a little layover between jobs, to keep pushing them, to keep them focused on the mission, and that's to constantly better themselves and find their purpose. We pride ourselves on a family-friendly, flexible work schedule that allows our individuals to go to school, go to the VA for those Tuesday 2:30 appointments, and if they share time custody with their kids, allow that real good solid time, right? We have individuals who, like I said, are doing little layovers, see if they want to go law enforcement route or what they want to do. So we just constantly push them individuals. And troop morale is a big thing too. Okay, we do hiking, we do good range time and fun events to just build a good camaraderie amongst veterans and a good fun workplace and a good healthy work environment.
So what percentage of your workforce are veterans?
95.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And obviously all local.
14 team members, correct.
Wow.
So, yep.
That's great.
So you mentioned earlier about customer service. I know that should be everyone's goal. Tell me how you go above and beyond.
So we'll just utilize retail real quick. Obviously, we're there for a reason. We do not want to drive customers away. We want the individual, the client who's paying for our services to benefit. So we do our best to de-escalate any situation that would deter paying customers to come in. So we do some great presence. Presence is number one, okay? So we just institute good old-fashioned foot patrols, and that allows us to know the customer a lot better and see what their issues are. And then even times that we aren't paid to be there, we may drive through because we're going to another post and just check in on them, say hello. So following up.
Holistic service, and that last point was huge. You're never off the clock, right?
That's the truth. ATMs, all right, so another good one is ATMs. ATMs, I service ATMs from Washington County all the way out to Morgantown, West Virginia. And I've had to go to Cumberland at 5 p.m. at night because they were still open for 2 hours and that ATM was about to run dry. But I did not want to leave any medical cannabis patients not be able to get their medication. So dinner's canceled, I got to go to Cumberland.
Yep.
So, yeah, some of the things that we do.
Great, thank you.
Excellent. Aaron, thank you very much for telling us about your business. For our viewers, one more time, give them the website.
The website to find out about Greenline Security Solutions is greenlinemd.com.
Excellent. All right, we're going to hold right here, gentlemen, but we'll be back with some more. So stay with us. We'll have more of the flip side after the break. Welcome back to the show. Thank you for staying with us, gentlemen. Mr. Paul Frey, President of the Chamber of Commerce. Talk to us a little bit about the landscape of local business and your vision for it going forward.
Well, we talked a little bit with Aaron about his business and how well he's doing, and we have a number of entrepreneurs here in Washington County, and including our folks out at HCC that host our entrepreneurs in their facility out there. We have about 40 tenants. So number one, the small businesses and the entrepreneurs are alive and well here in Washington County. We know about the new baseball stadium coming downtown, opening up in May of 2024. We know the city's adding an indoor field house with indoor turf facilities and a hard court. Fort Ritchie's being redeveloped. We, of course, hear about the warehouses and they're getting filled to capacity. So those are all some good things happening here in Washington County. The landscape looks good in Washington County as far as business, as far as commerce. And what we've talked about before are the housing situation. So
Right.
one of our initiatives is working with our elected officials and our other stakeholders, Greater Hagerstown, chiefs, some other folks. We have to build some more inventory because supply and demand is such that you don't have enough supply and then you pay over market prices for the houses and it shuts some people out. So the economy looks good, the business look good. Housing is our next objective to help here in Washington County. But overall, it's a great place to be, not only to have a business, to work here, but also we have strong education as well.
Yeah.
So, Paul, you just last week, I think, had Anibal Bersu, who's an amazing economist. And I don't know how we get him here every year, but kudos to you. Well, okay. He is well worth
Show
it.
him the money.
I don't know what you pay him, but he is well worth it. What's his outlook? What did he have to say that, I mean, do you agree with him in terms of the economic outlook?
So yes and no. I mean, yes, I do. The good news and bad news. The good news, he's talking about all the opportunities here that I just described. The bad news is he gets a sense the next 12 months we're going to have a recession because we still have some inflation in place. Even though the price of gas has come down so higher than it has been, the cost of groceries, the cost of heating oil, the cost of just general living expenses is up. And so who it hurts the most are the working folks.
Yeah.
You know, the middle class that they might get a 4% raise, but it doesn't cover the 9% increase, doesn't cover the 20% increase in groceries. So he's optimistic about the business opportunities. He's a little less optimistic about the economy. So he thinks the next 12 months is going to be a tough ride, and then coming out of that will be a little bit smoother. So the good news is we have lots of good things happening. We're very diverse commerce here in Washington County, which I've described, not only public sector, private sector, nonprofits, lots of things going on. But the next 12 months is going to be a bumpy ride.
If you look at the different segments of business, if you look at the different general categories of business, what do you feel like is and I'm sure there are many that are important pieces to our economy, but for example, the airport versus manufacturing versus whatever, where do you think there's opportunities?
We have a great apprenticeship program with Washington County Public Schools and with our private sector. So as far as an opportunity, the apprenticeship is really great for our high school and even college students in all types of industries. Specifically though, our health, you know, Meritus is adding a medical school which opened in the fall of 2025. So you can start here.
That's another huge
start here
win.
in elementary school.
That's another huge
You
win
go
for
through high
this county.
school. If you're interested in medical, you want to be a doc, you want to be a nurse, you want to be a physician assistant. You go to high school here, you go to HCC, you can transfer to USMH, and then you can go to the hospital and do your training. So I think healthcare is really important. There's opportunities there. Of course, the trades are always available. And again, the apprenticeship program and Tech High is really strong. So we can have students come out of high school and make really good living in whether it be carpentry, HVAC, electrical, a lot of opportunities, plumbing. And then Williamsport just added an aviation program for high school. So high school students can learn to fly a plane, they can learn to fly in drones, they can learn how to repair planes, and that's at the high school level. And coming out of there, either going to get accreditation or to college. So we have a lot of opportunities, and I think that's what's going to get us through. We have distribution, we have warehousing, we have some nonprofits that are hiring professionals, we have hospitality, hotels, restaurants, we have security businesses. So I think what's going to be good for us is the breadth of what we have to offer. Again, we need some housing, and we need to look at our educational facilities because when people come here, their kids need to go to school.
So, to paraphrase, you think that we have a more bulletproof economy than perhaps other counties?
If there is such a thing, I would say yes, because, and I just was visiting with apprentices last night, and when I told them, and when I tell college students, in my opinion, and you have a youngster at home, a really small young man, but for high school students and college students, there's no better time for success in my lifetime than right now. Show up for work on time, show a little initiative, stay off your phone for a little bit, ask questions, get some more responsibility. You can write your own ticket. There's so many opportunities, and they're all right here in Washington County, from the high school level all the way through college and professional.
Well, and you mentioned the salaries, and hopefully because of some of the remote work that we can now do, the salary level is going to continue to rise here in the county.
It should, and especially we got this medical school coming. That's going to bring a different level of folks here. Again, these trades can make $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year out of high school and out of a 2-year degree, and that's a comfortable living, especially if you're a dual income household.
Right.
You mentioned a lot of opportunities, but I think you looked past one, and it's the entrepreneurship. I think that's it. And you also mentioned some of that support that's actually out at HCC, because it's not just, I know there's a space for employment, and there's also a space for entrepreneurship. And kind of piggyback on what you said, I think this is probably one of the greatest times for entrepreneurs to get into the field of entrepreneurship and know how to do it and have resources like the chamber and among, because you go back 10, 15, 20 years, becoming an entrepreneur was a family business, most likely. Someone had to take you under their wing. Now there's an opportunity for you to step out yourself and really go after your own passion. So talk a little bit about the entrepreneurs that come through the chamber.
So the business incubator, again, we have a partnership with HCC. They also have a kitchen incubator. There's 7 or 8 businesses out there. And to Terrence's point, there's so much support here for entrepreneurs. I mean, Aaron is one example. I think he is more of what happened than it's not. We have folks who want to work hard. COVID certainly pushed folks into starting their own business because they were layoffs or they couldn't go to work. And so there's Greater Hagerstown, there's a chamber, there's SCORE, there's SBDC. There's all kinds of support here in Washington County. If you want to start your own business, either part-time or full-time, there's support. And Aaron will tell you it's not a 9-to-5 job. It's not a 40-hour work week. But, I'll let Aaron speak to this. There's nothing more satisfying than, taking care of your customers and knowing that you've contributed, helping some folks go to work, helping take care of your businesses. That's a great feeling. And 12 hours will seem like 6. And so, to run your own business, and Terrence knows this too, and as does Reggie, and you do too, running your own business. It's a lot of hard work. But when you work for yourself, all of a sudden that payoff means a little bit more. And the bumps in the road are no longer obstacles. They're just one more hurdle to get over to get to the next level. It's not, maybe you can speak to this, Aaron, when you have problems come up, you look at it differently because you have to solve the problem.
And it's true.
Yeah, I remember a good friend that owned a business talked to me about the first day you have to sit down and make payroll, what a challenge that is. And I remember that like it was yesterday. So, and the other thing, it's the rewards, in my view at least, are not always monetary.
That's right.
You mentioned what I consider to be one of the huge rewards, which is helping people, and specifically employees. You're taking someone who's coming out of military, helping them transition, not only helping them transition into a job, but helping them understand what they want their career outlook to be, or their career to look like going forward. That's important. And you can never, I had a former employee from the bank who I saw in Walmart of all places. And she came up to me, gave me a hug. She said, "I just want you to know, you changed my life."
Wow.
There is nothing that anyone has ever said to me that was any better than that.
Another one of the undertones of this conversation that I'm hearing is that there's a lot of opportunities that do not require a 4-year degree. It does not require you needing to go in a significant amount of debt to get your start. And I think that's exciting that there are many pathways to find success in our community, and it's just having all the avenues to steer folks towards the ones that fit for them. Are there services for young kids to do assessments to see where they're well suited, to kind of guide them towards the pathway that's best for them?
There definitely are, and through their schools, even at the middle school, there's a lot of assessments that they can do. So I encourage high school students to take advantage of their guidance counselors to do these assessments. What are their strengths? What do they like to do? And then do they have the skill set to do that? And some of us find out later in life that we're in a job for a number of years, we don't like it, we don't know why, and then we do something that we're more inclined to do successfully, and they would say, why didn't I do this years ago? So I encourage high school students and college students to do those assessments. What are your strengths? What should you not do that you're not going to like? So if you like being outdoors around people, you may not want to be an accountant or CPA. And so, if you want to be outdoors, there's surveying available through surveying companies. And so I think those assessments are available. We have a number of chamber members that can help with coaching on that, whether you're a high school student or you're 75 years old. It's never too late to do something different, whether you want to change jobs or start your own business.
Yeah.
And best thing too to add to that, it's not one or the other, right? You can really create your own path and do it a la carte, right? You can take specific classes at HCC while working and running your own business from your home. So, and now we sometimes talk about, you don't need a degree, but there is education out there that can be supplemented to help you make some business decisions, especially around finance, which we know a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with understanding things like payroll and accounting and who to reach out for this information. And that also lends itself to being a chamber when you have that directory, as you pointed out, to say, you know what, maybe I have somebody who can help me until I'm able to help myself. So that's a great opportunity, as well as being in a community that you can really develop yourself a la carte.
There's also a dual enrollment program through high school with WCPS. You can actually come out of high school, 4 years of high school, with a 2-year college degree.
Right.
So either go on from there or transfer from there to a 4-year degree. So you talk about as you're saving for your young son for college, if he's going to go to college, parents may not know about this and students may know about this, but you can get college degree, college credits while you're in high school going to the community college. And so there are, again, opportunities. And I've talked to Justin Burnett at HCC. He helps high school students transition to college. He has told me, if you want to go to Hagerstown Community College, you probably don't have to pay 1 penny out of your pocket.
Wow.
They will help you figure out, either through high school or through some of the grants and programs that we have, you should not have to pay 1 penny out of your pocket. You just have to ask and find ways to do that.
And they just had a huge job fair just today, correct? And I heard
Career
it was
Expo.
a Career Expo. So I heard it was well attended as well.
150 businesses. They had, I think, almost 500 job applicants come through. Aaron was there. I stopped through there. It was really great. It was through ARPA funding through the county, and then HCC coordinated all of it. It's unbelievable. It's outstanding. And they're going to do another one in the spring.
So was this in the ARC?
It was in New York. And I saw some high school students there, saw some adults there, so it's really neat.
And I must plug, one of your board members was actually there for English language to support our community, Hispanic community as well. Those are looking for jobs. And she sits on your board and is a chamber member as well. Came through your incubator and was there helping today as well. To, lending back to how diverse our community is.
As was Aaron's mother-in-law.
Yes, yes.
It's a family affair. So,
Yes.
yes.
Paul, another partnership you have is with the Community Lobbying Coalition.
Washington County Community Coalition.
Yes, can you talk to us about that?
Sure. It's a partnership about 8 or 9 community stakeholders, including Greater Hagerstown, Hagerstown Community College, the county, the city, CVB, Chief. I'm forgetting 1 or 2.
Library?
The library is part of this. So we go to Annapolis. This is now our 19th year going to Annapolis with one voice to go with projects that we need funding for to get our fair share of dollars from our taxpayer dollars from Annapolis. And again, we're in our 19th year. We've brought almost $400 million to the community over those 19 years. The library is one of them that we brought money for that. USMH building was one of them. The Maryland Theater. The big one we've been talking about, the stadium, about $70 million was come from taxpayer dollars from the lottery. The latest one, greatest, we've been working on for over 20 years, is $100 million to widen I-81 from the West Virginia line to exit 5. So that's 20 years in the making that we've got money, $10 million from the state, $90 million from the federal government. And so the idea is to go with one voice in Annapolis. They like to say, look, do your dirty laundry behind closed doors. Come to us with one voice. What is that you want? We go there. We have also reception there. We bring all the elected officials from the General Assembly to see about Washington County. In fairness to them, they're not going to come from the Eastern Shore or from Annapolis to come see us, so we bring Washington County to them. We show off the types of things we have here, and so when legislation comes before them, they know a little bit about us. They know we have indoor plumbing, we have electricity, we have some smart people here, and they're more likely to support what we're doing, and they help support our delegation, who also help us carry the water in Annapolis.
Well, and the reality is Washington County is a net taker of funds from the state of Maryland.
Especially
We
for
receive
education,
more
yes.
than we pay.
Yeah.
So
And just want to point out too, Paul, that, one voice, you named a lot of big heavy hitters, but at different levels. But if I'm correct, if it's not unanimous, it doesn't move
We
forward.
have 9 partners, and every partner has veto power. So if there's a project on the drawing board that one partner doesn't support, we take it off. So every agenda item is supported by all the partners. So this year, again, we're going back for some more I-81 money to finish, from exit 5 up to Pennsylvania. We're, Dan Spedden with Visit Hagerstown. We want to do a visitor center downtown near the stadium. I know Williamsport's looking for some dollars. So we have a number of projects that are really worthy. And to Terrence's point, we all agree on we're going to move forward with one voice. We don't do our dirty laundry out in the open. We talk about it. We agree with it. We go down and move together.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And we're one of the few counties in Maryland that does that one voice. Is that true?
There might be 2 or 3, but I just got great feedback last month that we do a really good job, and they know about Washington County. And if you attend the reception, you get a special gift. So we have a Maryland-themed gift every year, and the encouragement is if you come see us, we're going to give you a nice little gift to remember us by.
Yeah. Well, and let's face it, relationships are important. And when they can put a face and a brain, quite frankly, that's the first thing I look for is the mind at work.
Right.
With a proposal, can't do anything but help us.
And we are good stewards with the money. I mean, I listed some of the investments we've made, and when they see the return, number one, that grows our economy, and also grows their tax base. They like to see that, and again, we don't waste the money that we're given.
And it's also about execution. Because, I've gone since, my first time going was with part of Leadership Washington County. And the number of people who go down in support from this community has only grown.
Yes.
It probably, every time, it's probably one of the largest rooms they have to book for everyone in Washington County go down.
And there's overflow.
It's definitely overflow. Buses go down. People drive down independently, and everyone shows up from chamber members to Leadership Washington County to other business owners and the colleges, and everyone shows up. That is one thing to use your voice. It's another thing to show up and be present.
That's right.
Even the execution on the booklet, I've heard from legislators as well that no one but Washington County puts together this kind of documentation to support what they're speaking to leave that behind for them to reference at times as well. So kudos to everybody in the coalition because it's done extremely well.
Thank you.
Paul, we've talked about the challenges and opportunities. And on the opportunity side, we've talked about things within city limits and in the county that are coming. When you walk out of your office in 2026, what does the landscape of the community look like then? How do you see it?
We have a solution to the water and sewer issue that we, mainly the county and the city of Hagerstown, I think
come
need
together.
to collaborate and we need to work together. So 2026, we have a solution moving forward because that's going to help us build these homes that we need for inventory.
Yep.
We're going to have the medical school open.
Yep.
The first year, there'll be, I think, 100 students to try, and then by the 5th year, by 4 full years, we'll have 720 medical students, medical school students in that organization. So we'll see that happening. The field house will be opening. We'll be having great events from all over the tri-state area here in Washington County. I think we're going to have even more housing, affordable
Downtown.
housing in downtown. So you're going to see feet on the street. You're going to see restaurants thriving. Hub City Vinyl, they have
Their venue.
They have their venue. I'm going to a concert in 2 weeks at their 250-person seat venue. Lloyd is adding a 500-person seat venue. So we're going to have arts and entertainment. We're going to have things to do. As you might remember, the Museum of Fine Arts
They
has
have
a
their
big
expansion.
expansion project. That's going to be moving forward. Fort Ritchie's going to be even more redeveloped with houses. So again, this is, Jim asked about what does it look like next year. The economy is going to be tough. We're going to keep moving forward. People want to come to Washington County. They want to invest in Washington County. It's going to be even more exciting in 2 years than it is right now.
I think the advantage of going through whatever type of recession we will see is that there's already been a commitment of dollars that are going to be spent here to move things forward. We talked about the stadium and we said 70 million, it was really 90, right? Because there's an additional 20. But these dollars are coming. They're already committed. These projects are happening. So that should help buoy going forward. How do you feel about your businesses downtown outside of your office?
Generally good. We like to have more feet on the street for the restaurants. As you know, people can only eat one lunch a day.
Yes.
And so I think we need more feet downtown to eat at the restaurants. My favorite opening up, and by the end of the year, I think, is this bagel place, Cask and Ale, or they're going to have bagels in the front and brewed beer in the back. And I'm kind of a bagel snob. And so
You and me
good
both,
bagels.
Paul.
We have good
I've not
bagels
heard of this
downtown.
one.
Now, where's this going to be located?
It is a former bead store.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The
And so
Potomac
above are
Bead.
going to be real nice condos. It's called Bailey Cask and Ale, I think. I'm misnaming it. But Chris is currently serving the military. He's going to retire in 2 years. His brother is a brewer. He lives in Boonesboro. And so he's going to open up this bagel place.
That's a fairly large building.
It is.
Right on.
We're excited about that. And so we need more folks downtown. And here's the other thing we've talked about over the years. I'm saying the global, we need to be ambassadors for Hagerstown, Washington County.
Right.
We need to talk about all the great things happening. Every community has negative things. That's the way it is. We have so many great things to talk about. I think we need to be ambassadors. I have a friend in Portland, Oregon. He was talking about the unfortunate murder of the judge. And he said, yeah, it's Hagerstown. I said, Bill, let me give you a little information about Portland, Oregon I've been reading about.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you have people on the West Coast, and so I am saying, Bill, here's everything that's happening. So I sent him a list of all the great things happening, and he retracted his statement.
Well, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And they have to. If they look at the facts speak for themselves. Just look at arts, Maryland Symphony, Maryland Theater, Washington
of Fine
County
Arts.
Museum of Fine Arts, the Arts Council. I mean, there is so much going on in all sectors, history, entertainment, baseball stadium.
And I know that with your class, we're both Leadership
Yes.
Maryland graduates.
Yes.
So when we bring 52 other leaders to this community and they hear these things, I just know in regards to having the opportunity to speak with your class and my class, they're looking for reasons to come back. Like, I didn't know this
And
about your community.
they're sort of surprised, aren't they?
Yes, they're
This is
absolutely
here. We
surprised.
take them through the Maryland Theater. We
Yes.
showed them where the stadium's going to be. We went to the Museum of Fine Arts. They've come back. They're a little surprised. I mean, they can hear from us, but nothing like coming here and seeing it for yourself.
Right.
And so that's part of us saying, here's opportunities here. There's
Right.
a lot of fun things to do here in Washington County and Hagerstown.
Well, the other thing that I think speaks highly of this community, and we have some large businesses, and oftentimes they'll bring in leaders from other communities. And a lot of times when those leaders retire or vacate those positions, you know where they stay? Right here.
You know what else they do? They steal ideas from here. There are a number of counties that have visited Tech High to take away what we're doing here with Tech High. A number of people have come downtown to see what we're doing. You're going to be visiting with Alan Twigg here, with Meredith shortly, visiting with Alan and his team about Healthy Washington County. How can we do what you're doing, replicate in Washington County and our other communities? So, we have a lot of great things happening that people want to know
We
more
do.
about.
And we have a history of being paradigm pioneers. We don't just follow the crowd, we lead the crowd,
That's right.
oftentimes, more often than not.
And I think it goes back, and I'll say this, and not to be a wet blanket, it's about execution as well.
Yes.
You named all the puzzle pieces are on the table. If we don't come together, collaborate, communicate, and put things aside, we will miss this window of amazing opportunity. winter is coming, and and we've been saying it as well, and it's great to kind of be validated to somewhat from economists, but you build in the winter. And we're positioned to build and do a lot of work while others will be scurrying around looking for resources. It's here, the window's open, and this will give this community, counties, cities an opportunity to leapfrog so many others around that are developing as well. So I implore you, when you say about us speaking positive, but acting as such and partnering and working together, there's a lot of people at the table, and everybody, one bad apple can spoil the bunch. And we have to continue to work together and collaborate, much like the coalition does and other organizations, but we can't miss this opportunity. And this next year will be huge.
Well stated.
And I would say one of the biggest challenges going into 2024 is we understand the budget challenges with the state.
Yes.
And going down and asking for money for this session is going to be tough. Like, there's going to be some disappointment in regards to what we're going to be able to bring home. It's going to be challenging. So, I think it's a very good thing that there's a lot of things that have been done up front over the last few years
That are already funded.
that we can build off of. But it's going to be a fight to try to get things funded.
We've skinnied
in
down
this
our
time.
request.
Yeah.
We have 5 or 6. Usually we have 10 or 12, but we have 5 or 6, and we're going to focus on those. You make a good point, Reggie, about
But I agree with you, Terrence. I think it's about execution at the end of the day. We love ideas, but we celebrate results, right? And if we bring the results, then that will make the state more inclined to hopefully do more investment in Washington County and Hickory.
Exactly, return on their investment. That's what we have to show them.
That's right.
Yep. Absolutely.
Take us out. to
All right,
Fast
gentlemen,
Five.
thank you for being with us. Aaron, more than anything, I really respect you speaking your vision out loud, right? Because
Thank you, sir.
we can all hold you accountable for that, right? We can always check back in and see how
Let's
well
go
you've
to the
done.
videotape.
You met his wife and his mother-in-law, so he's got lots of accountability in place. He's a smart man.
But it's something about speaking your vision out loud, right? Because you're going to be able to look back at this tape and be proud of the fact of, like, I've checked these things off the list. So congratulations to your success. Much more to you, Paul. Your work there at the chamber. And thank you for you guys being here.
You're welcome.
And Paul, we look forward to you bringing back another new chamber member
Yes.
Sure.
to meet with us here in the next quarter.
Look forward to it.
Excellent.
All right. Welcome back to the show. Gentlemen, let's jump into some local topics and some things that are on our radar. First up, is the real estate market slowing down? Terrence, you have your real estate license. Let's start with you, sir.
I think right now with the Fed and where we are with the interest rate right now, we are seeing more homes go back on the market. So I think that bottleneck or that lack of housing that we had out there. I think
Lack of inventory.
Lack of inventory, the scarcity of inventory as well is loosening up. It hasn't immediately. We just looking right now from October of last year to this year, we're seeing a 2.4% increase in closing sales of what we were at October last year. And we're right, for October, we were 644 homes. We're actually closed for sale in Maryland, West Virginia, Panhandle area. So we are seeing an increase. It is incremental. We haven't seen the big shift that everyone's been hoping and looking for. I think there's some positive trends with the interest rate and people kind of really realizing what the norm is going to be for interest rates right now. I think it was very difficult for a lot of homeowners to get out of their low 3-4% interest rates and to put their homes on the market with a 20% increase in what we've seen in principal, as well as an interest rate that you didn't know was going to balloon up or eventually come back down. So I think now as we kind of realize some normalcy and of expectations, I think a lot of homeowners are going to start putting their homes on the market. Unfortunately, we're not seeing a lot of new development in as much as we could or should, as much as we need. But I think the housing market, it has to shift now. And I think people are in a position right now where they feel more comfortable in their employment, with interest rates, and kind of realizing this may be where it is and making financial decisions from here.
So Paul Frey was on the show earlier, and he talked about the fact that we need more housing inventory in Washington County. And I would argue that at some level, communities like Washington County probably don't mirror the nation for a couple of reasons. Number one, regardless of the fact that there's a back to the office effort in play, there are a lot more people that are working from home than ever before. That's a fact.
Right.
Those people are choosing not to live in the cities. They are giving up their housing in the cities, and they are moving to the more rural areas. And guess what? That makes Washington County a prime target for those home buyers. So when I talk to Cynthia Sullivan, who's my personal favorite real estate agent, all due respect,
No offense.
she talks about the fact that she's still seeing a high demand and still seeing low inventory. I think Paul is correct from my amateur vantage point.
Right.
I also think he's correct that until we get this water and sewer situation fixed in Washington County, and yes, because if our viewers don't know, Hagerstown owns water in Washington County, right? County buys or gets their water from the city of Hagerstown. So they've got to work together to get that resolved. And that's got to happen. So until that happens, I don't see that, we may still have inventory issues. The fact of the matter is the prices are still rising slightly, 2.8% in the most recent data. The housing inventory is up a little bit. The time to close or the time on the market is up just a little bit. What I think 3 or 4 days maybe in total, but it's still.
Last month was 13-day average.
Yeah, I mean it's still very, very low. It's still very, very low, and interest rates right now they seem to be trending down. Is that going to stick? I don't know. I think it depends on what inflation does.
I think the stock market is signaling that things are slowing down, and it's been favorable the last couple of days with the CPI data that's come in. The thing is, when we look at our community, in the USA, we're talking about $394,000 for median housing, and you're talking about interest rates, around 7.6, 7.7, shy of 8%. But the real thing is the lack of affordable housing. Number one, a $300,000 house is not affordable, especially when you look at the incomes in this community. I had a conversation with a nonprofit leader, and they're from this community, and they're just talking about their frustration that there doesn't seem to be any solutions in regards to affordable housing that's coming on the table, and homelessness is going up.
Right.
But because the cost is just making it too absorbent for people to find affordable housing.
Well, plus you have a lot of these house flippers that are going in and buying properties and rehabbing them and selling them at a higher than market rate in some cases.
You got places like New York City which ban Airbnbs to a certain extent. So to try to get investors to let go of some of their properties who had multiple properties to kind of take that avenue of income away from them to drive them back into the market. So with the median sale price of a home up around almost $300,000, when the median salary is around between $60,000 and $70,000
in Washington County.
Yeah, you can say that even with a 2-family household, that's a substantial amount of home to be trying to pay for with a mortgage that's going to be seeing a 7% interest rate on it as well as the cost of maintaining a home, which isn't built into the initial price.
Well, just the utility costs. I mean, I had my oil tank filled up here recently, $2,000, bam, right out the door.
Property taxes.
Property taxes are up. That's exactly right.
Right. So,
and by the way, and not directly related to property, but obviously one of the things that Maryland needs to look at, given their budget situation at this point, is do they need to raise taxes anywhere?
Yeah. Absolutely. And that takes more money out of your paycheck, and increases the amount of your expenses. So I think it's going to be difficult to see what the housing market's going to look like. I think we're going to see some ebbs and flows until we hit some normalcy. I think people may be reactive right now to some of the changes, And as a homeowner, if you're trying to sell or trying to buy, you're watching this right now. So you're going to have some people who may jump the gun based on some of the news. But then I think we will fade back a little bit as we see some things that may be happening in our economy next year. People kind of want to stay close to maintaining their savings and holding on to some of their money. I'm trying to understand what it looks like, maybe 2025. So I think we're going to see some mild spikes next year. But ultimately, the big turn I don't foresee in the next year, probably 2 years, to get back to that point. Also, you talk about developers. If we look for cost-effective housing, and for people who are making $60,000, $70,000 to afford it, or people to buy their first starter home, there's no money in building those homes, especially with the cost of labor as well as the cost of material right now that is so high. A developer doesn't see a benefit in building a $150,000, $200,000 home. They're building $300,000, $350,000, $400,000 homes just to get a return on that initial investment. So unless people start leaving their homes, but they're not going to be selling their homes for $200,000 because the prices are still inflated. Right. So there's such a gap there that it's going to take a lot of effort, work, normalcy, some ebbs and flows for us to level out, including some drastic initiatives between our city and county to probably encourage, to encourage developers and incentivize them to come in and make $200,000 homes. Because right now, I can't see where any developer can see any benefit financially in doing so.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be interesting. One of the things that I'm convinced of, and again, I'm no expert here, I don't think this is going to end up in a bubble. I think this is some fashion of a new reality. I think prices may decrease a little, they may increase a little. I think demand is going to change over time, but I don't see the housing bubble that we saw back in the 2007, 2008 time frame. Thoughts?
I agree, especially with rental costs also ballooning up. And where are you going? So I don't think people are going to be losing their houses as we've seen so much during that time. I think a lot of people who are in homes right now, a lot of them are living below their means as far as what they can afford from a house because they don't want to leave their house that's priced for their budget and lose a 3% interest rate to go into more home. So if they don't vacate that house, no one can move into it.
That's the bottleneck.
That's stagger right there. So there has to be transitions that allow people to kind of move out of those homes and move into a larger home. So there's not going to be people who suddenly, foreclose and hundreds and thousands of homes go on the market again. I don't see that happening. What I do see happening is what we're seeing is an increase in homelessness.
Right. Yeah. And the reality is that the price of a house is connected to the amount of inventory. And we have a problem with inventory.
Supply and
the
demand.
Inventory in Washington County specifically can't be increased as quickly as it needs to be for two reasons. Number one, because of what you said, the smaller houses, they have to supersize the houses to make any money on them. The developers do. Plus, we don't have the water and sewer capacity.
Agreed. But and the scariest thing is, if there is going to be a bubble, it's going to happen, I think, a few years down the line. I think a lot of people, if the prices of homes do drop down, you're going to see a lot of people living in houses that have zero equity built into them because
Absolutely.
they bought them because the price was so much higher. And if the price is high, you can negotiate your interest rate. Once the price is the price, and you either have to sell it and take a loss, and that may make people a little leery right now to even make any moves.
Yeah.